Most woodland plants flower in spring. Before the trees get their leaves, the canopy closes over in the woodland, excluding a lot of the light and making it difficult for pollinators to spot the individual blossoms. But there are exceptions, and one exception is Enchanters Nightshade. Here it is. Enchanters Nightshade manages to attract the few insects whose eye it needs to catch for pollination, and those insects are small hoverflies. Now, it's an unusual flower in that the parts of the flower are in twos. You've got two strongly reflexed sepals with a hint of purple in the colour, two prominent white petals, two very conspicuous stamens, and an equally prominent style and cleft stigma. To appreciate this properly, you really need the use of a hand lens in order to appreciate the beauty and the unusual structure of the flower. In other words, to get some small sense of what the flower looks like on the scale of the insect itself. Notice the way the flowers hang upside down, so that an insect approaching on the wing is most likely to contact the stigma with its abdomen first of all, as it tries to find its footing on the two stamens. It has to scramble a bit to do this, because the stamens tend to sag under the insect's weight, since they narrow at the base and are easily moved. Nectar is secreted by a fleshy ring around the base of the style, and in the process of accessing the nectar, any pollen the insect may have brought from other nightshade flowers is transferred to the stigma, and pollen from this flower is dusted on the body of the visitor. If there are no visitors, self-fertilization seems to be possible, because there is nearly always a full complement of fruits. We tend to take our eye off the plant once the petals have fallen and it no longer attracts our attention in the same sort of way. But of course the ovary is still there. The ovary is the developing fruit. Many woodland plants disperse their fruits, their seeds, by being eaten by birds and small mammals, and the seeds pass unharmed through their digestive systems. Many other plants hitch a lift on the fur of small woodland animals. Enchanter's Nightshade is one of the latter. As it matures, the hairs on the ovary gradually transform into little hooked bristles, which catch onto any furry animal that touches them. Notice how the stalks of the fruits angle downwards as they prepare to leave, in order to put them in the best jumping off position. The Latin scientific name for Enchanter's Nightshade is Circea, named for Circe, an enchantress in classical mythology noted for her knowledge of magic and poisons, and it is she who is the enchanter, or more correctly enchantress, in the name Enchanter's Nightshade. Now, in fact, the plant doesn't seem to have had an English name until the end of the 16th century, when it was first named in English by the great herbalist John Gerard. And shortly before that, the Flemish botanist Matthias de Lobel thought that he could identify a plant associated in classical mythology with Circe with our woody nightshade. But subsequently he changed his mind and identified it with this plant. So when Gerard came to devise an English name for the plant, what he did was he simply spliced those two elements of its name to give us the English Enchanter's Nightshade.